Tootsies.
Once you pop, you can't stop.
Once you pop, you cannot stop.
No,
the loving trio of gentle merrymen back in the studio today. How you boys living?
I'm having an IPA.
Bro, it is 9:30 in the morning and JP Gav's having an IPA. We're on the way out. I guess it is Saturday, so we can...
It's Friday, dude.
Oh, it's even better. Friday. We're on
It's not 9:30 in the morning, just so everybody knows. It's 1:05 p.m.
It's
and
8,
I mean, it's still early.
45 in the morning, and Jeremy has already done a rail of cocaine.
Feeling responsible.
Jeremiah Paul Donis went out last night, had some queso fundido, and came back this morning.
Man.
And he is drinking IPAs like in guys who drink IPAs.
Dude, I am having a good time.
I don't appreciate you taking the last IPA in there without considering me and Steve in this equation.
You told me that IPAs make you depressed.
They do.
So I just assumed you didn't want one. Steve didn't seem like he was ready to start.
No, I do my
sipping.
drinking from 4 a.m. to 6 a.m.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And then Julian starts right. Do you guys just have a baton, which is just an IPA that you hand off? Julian starts at 6:30.
Yeah, he wakes up and says good morning, and I say good night.
I don't like day drinking at all. I don't really like drinking in general, but I drank last night, and I just feel like,
you can like drinking. You can. It's interesting that, because my relationship with drinking is, I think, very similar to yours in that I know I'm a much better operating human being when I'm not drinking, but I love to have a drink.
Yeah.
Like I love to have a tequila.
You like it for different reasons. Like you like to celebrate hard work and then going and enjoying a drink after that. I guess I like that too. I don't like the taste, and I just like the condition. You
don't like there's nothing refreshing about like a light beer?
Maybe like a cider.
Yeah.
That's about it though. Mm-hmm. But honestly, I'd prefer an apple juice. Like that would be honestly the best for taste.
But you like the feeling that drinking gives you.
It's so weird because when I stopped, I was like, oh man, that was just a feeling that I had inside of me that I was able to manifest whenever I wanted to when I wasn't drinking. So it's just like, I'm capable of having those feelings. It just makes me feel stupid, honestly. And I've gotten back to it, having a relationship with it where, yeah, I mean, I like getting tipsy and being like, cool, I feel loose and I can do anything I want. But like when I'm not drinking, I can still do that. I just guess I don't. So.
Yeah, same here. Whenever I'm off the sauce long enough, I'm like, I don't miss it necessarily. The only thing I do miss is the tradition of it. Like I enjoy getting to, preparing for a thing that everybody's gonna get together and celebrate with, and like once everybody's there, being like, hey guys, and cheersing, and celebrating together. But I'm curious if that's like when growing up in church, we would do communion, right? Like in the Bible, it talks about Christ breaking bread, amongst his disciples.
The body of Christ.
It says whenever you drink this wine and break this bread, do so in my name. I'm completely misquoting the Bible, which is
you should know this stuff,
relatively
Alan.
sacrilegious. But I'm curious if that's what he was talking about necessarily, because this is one thing that you don't get in the written word very often is intent behind the speaker, especially when you're quoting somebody. Like there's so much left to intent, and I mean, especially when you translate it a bunch of times too, I'm sure that there's like the intent behind something can be misused. But when I take my breaks from the drinking, which is like, I do it the last few tours I've done that. I just don't drink unless I got an off day or something. But that's the thing I miss. I miss like the camaraderie. The camaraderie of it. Like everybody gets together and like cheerses. I really enjoy that. But
I do too. I think not drinking for me, when I stopped for as long as I did, I missed not participating when people were. I was like, oh, that looks fun. I could totally do that, and I was like participating like in being there, obviously, and not drinking. But I like being able to participate now and be like, oh, sure. Yeah. Alan, you're having one? Then pour me one up too, daddy, because I'm having an IPA at 1 p.m. and it's Friday night, baby. I'm getting ready to get souped up.
Apologize for all the friends at home for that unfortunate sound that Julian just made with his mouth.
You should have just seen the eyes he gave me. You looked so disappointed in me in that moment. Are you disappointed in me too, Steve?
Not at once, man. I've been drunk since 96.
God damn you, Libby.
I've been drunk since 96. Oh, man. Consistently?
Whole time.
No.
Have you ever taken breaks?
Yeah, he always used to take. You were the first person to introduce me to like taking time off. Like when we were, I mean, I would have been 26 or so, and you would just always take Novembers off.
No drinking.
Or no, Octobers. Which
November?
was it?
Yeah, sober October.
Yeah, and you don't do that anymore.
No.
What happened? How come?
I figured out that I like drinking in October.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Drinking is such an interesting thing, man. It's so bad for you, but it's so fun, and it's also just like, I don't know. Have you taken a break, Steve, before, like proper, like long term, more than a month?
I mean, I can't recall, but I don't like to think of it that way as like a relationship as far as I'm needing to take a break.
Yeah.
Should I? Probably, but
yeah, I don't know.
I can't recall like a time where I was like, nope, 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah, I said a year when I originally stopped, and after that year, it was like, there's definitely no point in going back to this now.
Right. I mean, it's impressive, from what you were doing to going a year off. It's a testament to your strength, your mental strength, because I think that's what it is, more than physical.
It was so crazy to be a bartender during those years too, and like bartending at this like dive bar kind of place, and just watching people come in and get drunk and realizing like. People would always be like, isn't it hard to bartend and not drink? I was like, not here. It's honestly easier.
Yeah. No,
like I see how stupid people are, and it's just a reflection of how I was.
I was going to say, working in the industry for so long, I've had that with coworkers and friends too, where almost being in the environment of people drinking and abusing it like crazy makes it honestly easier, because it's like every night there's an example of, oh yeah, I'm glad I'm not doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the time that I spent off was, I think, right in the middle of I just been on being surrounded by it all the time. You're constantly, you can pick out like the aspects of drinking that are incredibly unfortunate, which are people just acting like fools.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those people drinking too, they were always just like, it's easier when I'm working and I don't know these fucking people.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's like, again, 10 of your friends, you want to be part of the ritual.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or the hang.
Right. I remember when I first stopped, I wanted to feel like nothing had changed, so I could like continue to be the same exact guy I was prior, just nixing the drinking. And so I was going out in New York out till like 4:00 in the morning with my friends and drinking Red Bulls. I would have like 7 Red Bulls in a night, and I would be like more fucked up than the people that were drunk.
Yeah.
And I was just like feeling awful, like just zinging off the walls, and people were just like, drunk and slurring. And I was just like, it was such a different experience. And I was like, this is so stupid. I don't need to be going out and doing the same things. Like, it doesn't make any sense anymore. So it was nice to finally be able to get to bed by 11:30 p.m. and be like, sweet, dude, this is what people do that are responsible. This is nice.
Yeah, drinking more than 1 Red Bull a day that's not going to do you well.
It's awful, man.
I think you should only drink delicious canned iced coffees.
Yeah, dude, these ladder coffees I've already had
what is it?
a Red Bull.
It's a Ladder Coffee. They have graciously sponsored the podcast for the next couple months and have given Jeremiah Pauldonis his greatest achievement of all time, which is what, folks? Free cold brew.
Free cold brew, baby.
Brew.
Hey, folks. Today, our episode is brought to you in part by our good friends at Ladder Coffee. Head to laddercoffee.com and you can order beans directly from the brewer, as well as some of this beautiful cold brew. Locally owned and operated out of Spokane, Washington. Check it out. Ladder Coffee.
I'm jacked.
I'm trying to find Jeremiah Paul Donis. Where is the photo of you at that Thanksgiving party?
I didn't post it.
You didn't post this picture? Oh, bro.
Tristan has it though. He can send it to us. That's a pretty good. I think I might actually have it some. I don't know. I don't want to sit here and look through my phone for it.
Oh, that's such a good photo.
Yeah, that photo is pretty fun. That was great.
Hilarious photo.
What's hilarious about the photo?
So yeah, we just had like a 70s
Jive turkey feast.
Oh yeah,
jive
those
turkey
photos are
feast,
great.
and Julian has this photo that it's one of the greatest photos of all time in my personal opinion. He took some powdered sugar and just like rubbed it over his upper lip so it looks like he's just like super minging on some pingers. And
did he snort that while he was doing coke? I feel like that's probably double dangerous.
yeah,
That
right.
would have been real nice.
No, and just the look on his face, like whoever captured it is just did an incredible job of framework on the cameras is very good. But yeah, God, I miss Mac Ayers.
I know, man. He was such a.
Steve, you didn't even meet him.
No, didn't even
Really?
meet him. No.
Oh, dang, dude.
Oh man, what a little sweet boy.
He was super cool, man.
He was super cool. We just dropped off our friend Mac Ayers at the airport yesterday, and what a wonderful time we had. I think it's super cool that we were talking about this on the way back from dropping him off, that it takes, especially now during a pandemic, right? Like to travel right now is like, it's terrifying, right? Regardless of how safe you are. Like we didn't see anybody hardly. We tested to make sure that we were okay. And yet it's still like kind of terrifying because I haven't been on a plane in a year, bro. I used to take like 75 flights a year.
Yeah.
I haven't been on a plane in a year. I can't imagine like getting on a plane right now. I'm about to go to Australia soon, and that's going to be fucking terrible.
Just having to wear a mask the whole time.
Yeah, you just wear a face mask because like, with this whole situation, we're all like a very closed. Jules, you and I live together. Steve, you live out in the woods with Laura. Like we're all very safe and isolated.
Yeah.
And so we like, unless we are around a bunch of new people, we don't mask up because we've all been together, right? Like we're all in the same thing.
Yeah.
We're very safe. Like Steve, the other day you sat out the live at the lodge in a means to be safe because you had a relative coming who has an at-risk daughter. But it's regardless. It's just a terrifying time to travel.
Yeah.
Regardless of how safe you are. And he came all the way from LA, and not only is it like a hard time to travel, but like just going to somebody else's house that you've only met through like Instagram that's another incredibly like vulnerable risk, right? But like to see. Because my favorite thing is entertaining people. I love having people at my house.
Making people tuna melts at like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. I just love having people over and cooking and like treating them. I just really enjoy that process. And I think that Mac was like just so elated by how cool the experience was. Like how cool Taz and Rue and you and like the house band, like everybody was. That like I even on like the drive out, like he was like tearing up a little bit, like to the airport. He was kind of like, I could sense there was like he was like, fuck man, I'm gonna miss you guys. This is gonna be tough. So shout out to Mac Ayers, man. Thank you so much for making the trek, dude, and like getting out of your comfort zone and coming up here and lending your talents and your personality and your time. And it's like that's a friendship that'll last for a long time. It's super cool.
Yeah, he's a really special dude, and he's so young, and to be as talented and as like far along as he is, it's really inspiring and cool and encouraging. It's just like, wow, man, like God, a decade younger than us, and you're a decade farther ahead.
Yeah, man. Well, it's like, it's cool to see that where you spend your time is where you blossom. And
Yeah.
like, Mac is I'm going to get in the studio every day kind of guy. And he doesn't really seemingly care about touring like that. He loves playing shows, but like touring's not a high priority for him. Video stuff's not a high priority for him. Like music and just like being in the studio and in the lab is like, that's all he loves to do.
Yeah.
That and like fucking smoking weed, dude. The guy smokes more weed than anybody I've ever met.
We were gonna do a second podcast with him where we just like smoked hella weed.
High.
It's just you and me would have just been like,
I'm interested.
Was I funny?
What's funny is like I think when I get paranoid for when I'm smoking is when I'm trying to think my way out of being high.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
The worst
right.
thing you can do.
And I wish I could get to a point where I'm just like, I don't care.
Embrace it
and just embrace the silliness of it. I think I was more prone to do that like in my early 20s because I just honestly didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I thought I had the whole entire world figured out, and now in my 30s, I'm like, I'm so far away from having anything figured out. But it's cool to see just like essentially where you put your time is where you grow.
Yeah.
And like being in the studio with Mac, we wrote a bunch of songs together. I learned so much from him.
Yeah.
Like just little things. I was like, what are you doing there? Teach me that. What's going on there? What are you doing here? He's made all 4 of his albums top to bottom by himself in his fucking room, dude. Like literally his apartment. And they're beautiful sounding records. They're greatly wonderfully written songs. And it was just so inspiring to kind of just to know like, yeah, where you spend your time is where you're going to excel.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think over the pandemic, we've excelled in the video production. We've excelled in this podcast, and Live at the Lodge is, I think that was the best episode we've shot ever since we've shot it. Like I'm getting the hang of that, and it's because we've been putting our time in.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to know that if you like just buckle up and put your time into really anything that you're passionate about, you will get better at it.
Yeah, totally.
And you will eventually be qualified to do that thing.
Yeah. Like my drinking.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Steve's a
Yeah, it is. It's cool, man, and it's encouraging.
martial artist.
I think it's like, you know, perseverance and just putting your time into anything is, you know, is always kind of daunting because you're like, I don't know how long this is going to take to get to where I want to go, but it's just like, hopefully what that thing is that you're doing, that you're putting your time into, is something that you just like doing as it is. So like when I think about, you know, where, you know, we talked about as a trio, like what this podcast was going to be eventually. And like, dude, it's not, you know, it's not going to really start making that much sense until like 100 episodes in. This is like 30 something.
Oh, I think it's gonna. I have a feeling that all of the creative ventures that we put forth are not going to make sense until a couple hundred episodes in.
Yeah.
I've noticed this TV shows, that's like my favorite thing to dive into now.
Right.
Is like a TV show that is a season deep. But like I don't pay attention to, except Ted Lasso. That was like the first season of anything that I've watched the first season of when the first season came out.
Yeah, but it was all just available to us so we could binge it.
Well, yeah, but I usually don't pay attention. What I'm saying is I don't pay attention to something until it's 3 seasons deep.
Yeah,
and enough people have told me about it that I go, oh, okay, I'll go check that out.
Yeah.
I never watch anything like first go because I just don't trust advertisement. I trust...
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth.
Yeah.
If like Steve tells me like, oh yeah, you really got to dive into Ted Lasso, then I'm like, okay, I got to dive into Ted Lasso. I'm gonna like that.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that way, and I think that's the kind of the cool thing about the internet is it, in my personal opinion, it's gonna give folk the opportunity to find that lane and to learn with the art form.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really cool, and I think that this specifically will obviously continue to get better. Like I find myself feeling more loose. It's weird because I still feel like nervous talking to guests pretty much every time. If they're in the space with us, that's one thing. But like now we're doing these remote things, and a lot of times like we don't know them well.
Yeah.
So it's always just like, I don't know how this is going to go. This is crazy. But they always wind up being something that we walk away from being like, this is awesome. And I
The
think
Andy Dick one was interesting.
the Andy Dick one was very interesting.
I was
yeah.
nervous for pretty much the whole thing until they sang Finger Bang.
Yeah, I mean,
And I was like, oh, this is going to be just fine.
I had a lot of people comment on that one, and they were just like, man,
Couldn't handle it.
what the fuck
Yeah.
was that?
You should
dude?
release the hour long of outtake.
Yeah, the whole hour
They're
of just
not
like,
on screen. And
yeah, those
Yeah,
guys
there was like
were-
a half an hour of them just trying to figure out the blinds in the room.
yeah,
then Sven came in and figured it out.
yeah.
I mean, that was on of that for folks who haven't listened to this podcast. We're this is kind of talking out of pocket because you don't have any reference, but we did a show with the comedian and actor Andy Dick, who he's either Andy Kaufman reincarnated or
just a fucking
just like
maniac.
a legitimate crazy person. I can't tell. I don't know, and I think that's the ruse.
Yeah,
But there was this moment. We had just finished doing a podcast with Magnus Tingsek, who's from Malmo, Sweden, and
tiny town.
we start. Yeah, it's a town of about 100,000 people. We start right after that. We get on. We're gonna do an Andy Dick podcast, right? Like a bunch of shit goes wrong. Andy doesn't have internet.
They're
at
like
his
3
house.
hours late.
They're like 3 hours late for it. Then they stop at like a Carl's Jr. Their internet's broken. They don't have in-room dining. So they go to this like girl's house who has a conference room to set up the internet. They get on the Zoom call, and the first 5 seconds of the Zoom call, Andy calls us fucking faggots.
Yeah.
And now I don't like to utilize that term. I don't even like to express it unless in that manner that I just did, but like to give the folks at home an understanding of like how crazy this podcast was. And then they just proceeded for the next 45 minutes to figure out how to put the blinds down so they could get the lighting right on their Zoom call. And so this guy comes in named Sven. You couldn't have pulled him out of
Was it Sven?
No.
I don't know what his name was, but he looks like a Ken doll. His skin is glistening, and Andy Dick is hitting on him,
Yeah.
like getting his phone number. And we're like, hey man, well, you sound Swedish. Where are you from? He's like Malmo. I'm like, there's no way. Are we getting set up? Like, am I on punked right now?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm being punked. Where's Justin Bieber at? It was such an
bizarre.
interesting, bizarre podcast. I'm not positive how we started talking about the Andy Dick one though, other than like, I think we started on this trail about Mac really just like investing time into the studio, and that's why he's so good in that space and he's so comfortable in that space. And I think anytime you're intimidated by something that you want to do, it's natural. You just have to dive in and suck at it for a while.
Yeah.
Like if you go back and watch early episodes of this show, episodes of the Live at the Lodge, you go back and listen to early records, you like anything you used to do it sucks.
Yeah.
And you have to be okay with failing and sucking.
Right. I mean, we suck right now. Like we're in the suck phase still.
Oh yeah, well, and we'll constantly, whenever we go 5 years back, we'll be like, God,
you're such idiot. Can you
idiots.
believe? But that is kind of fun. I mean, to have this documented and recorded and put into the world is pretty cool, because 20 years from now to come back and look at these things is going to be interesting and fun, because this is a documentary of us.
Yeah, I hope that double F that I just laid down from reciting Andy Dick's response to our initial 15 minutes of podcast doesn't come back bite me in the ass when I'm running for president.
When you're running for prezi. No, it won't bite you in the ass. You were what?
Wow.
You were making a reference to somebody else saying something. So
I think you got Mayor of Chihuahua in the bag, but Prez is a reach, bruv.
Mayor of Chihuahua, dude.
You didn't let me finish. I said president of Chihuahua.
Oh, perfect. You got
There's
that.
no president of Chihuahua. Mayor. Is there even a mayor?
I believe there is a mayor. Yes, there's a mayor
Joe
of
Pacutis.
any.
Is that who it is? Was that where that was from? Pacutis.
No, it was a comptroller or something, which no one knows what that is. Does anyone know what a comptroller is?
A comptroller?
Computer troller.
Yeah, I think just like somebody who gets online
Troller?
and says what they shouldn't. Maybe Andy Dick is a comptroller. That's just what he did to us.
Speaking of 20 years or 10 years younger, what's coming next? Because it's Gen Z, right?
Yeah.
What's next? What's the next gen? I feel like his alphabet's good.
Well, and who
Is that Rudy?
names the gen?
I don't know. So same person who names hurricanes Karen?
Yeah, who does that?
I don't know.
Who's the guy who's like, oh yeah, this one's called Hurricane Isabel?
Yeah, don't know.
I mean, it's probably just a boardroom of people that like somebody throws it out, and then like somebody else is like,
how do you get that gig? Do I go on Monster?
I don't think. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's like a
comptroller?
specific person. I'm sure it's just like a group of people that just are all working. That I don't know.
It's like an order.
They look at or is it like a Rorschach test where they look at the hurricane on the satellite and
See
they're like,
Isabel.
that
Yeah.
reminds me.
Yeah.
Reminds me of Magnus.
My ex-girlfriend in college.
You guys
Amber.
ever been around a hurricane or like around the aftermath of a hurricane or like in an area where a hurricane happened?
Never a
No.
hurricane. Tornadoes.
Where was the tornado at?
The Midwest. We were
You
obviously,
were on
I think
tour?
we were on tour going through, I think, Oklahoma.
Did you just
Or
laugh at him?
No,
The sky turned.
you were just
the
laughing
sky
at him.
turned like green and yellow, like a bruise.
Wow.
And we were like, this is fucking weird. And then we flip on the news on the radio, and like 15 miles away or something, a tornado would touch down, and then just this crazy storm happened.
Wow. I was in
But we
Right.
saw the aftermath of that.
it was
Drove
and it,
back.
and it did some damage.
Oh yeah, it tore through barns and fences. It never lands like in the middle of a city. It
Right.
just like tears through all these fucking farmers.
Yeah. Right when I had moved to New York, because I moved in the beginning of 2012, like right as 2012 started, and I can't remember exactly, but it was like I think 2013 or maybe even 2012. Hurricane Sandy came through New York and just like devastated that city, and the water came up and over, and just like, dude, it was so crazy because I rode my bike into Manhattan because New York was shut down for like 2 weeks. Like it went down into the subways and like flooded the subway system.
Wow.
Yeah,
There were
I've seen
pictures of
pictures.
people like scuba diving through the subway tunnels.
Oh, no, that's terrifying.
It was
Hope they got their
crazy,
shots.
dude.
How many people? Because I watched a documentary at one point about, I think it was a Vice doc, about the communities that live in the sewer systems in New York City.
I've always wanted to, like, sometimes when I've gotten like drunk or something, I've been like, man, it would be so cool to go down and just like have like a proper excursion through the subway systems. And I'm just like, that when I'm sober up, I'm like, that's the
That's
worst
a
idea of all
terrible
time.
idea. Yeah, this is why Julian doesn't drink anymore.
I'm drinking now. But yeah, Hurricane Sandy came, and it was really crazy because just to shut down a city like New York's in general was so bizarre. But I rode my bike into Manhattan like 2 weeks after it had happened, and like lights were still out, everything was still shut down, and God, man, there were like trucks flipped over, like going into like tunnels and stuff. Like the Lincoln Tunnel was like flooded out, and there was like, Wall Street was literally flipped upside down. Like I was looking into buildings, and like the first floors of stuff was just like literally just flipped upside down because all the water went through and like just completely took over. And then I continued riding my bike up through Manhattan. I got up into Times Square as the sun was starting to set, and I just sat out there. I was with my friend Mo, who you met, and we were like in Times Square by ourselves in the pitch black dark with no lights.
Crazy.
It was so, and I'd like to have pictures of it, but it doesn't show because it's just so dark.
Yeah.
It was really, really weird, but yeah, that was so crazy, man. Then I remember riding back over the Brooklyn Bridge and looking, because a lot of Brooklyn was still open, or like electricity was working, but all of Manhattan was off. So like in the middle of the bridge, I was looking out at Brooklyn and seeing all the lights, and then looking into Manhattan, and like all it was like the moon illuminating light onto the city of darkness.
Yeah, I don't really, I guess I don't know the layout of New York probably even close to as well as you do, but Manhattan touches the bay.
The river. So Manhattan is like basically.
Brooklyn
just like
doesn't?
It does. They're both separate. They're both separated by like the East River.
Oh, well then why didn't Brooklyn flood?
Parts of it did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, parts of it did, but like there was, I don't know, like Manhattan. I don't know like what the I don't know why it did, but like it was down at the tip, like down by like Battery Park where like the Statue of Liberty is and stuff like that. That's where it like all flooded in, but that's all like financial district. So like Wall Street and all that stuff. It was crazy. And parts of Brooklyn that were on like on the water flooded as well. Just a super crazy thing, man. People were just drunk for like 3 weeks straight in their houses because they couldn't do anything else.
Right. It's kind of like the entire year of the pandemic.
Yeah, I know. What a weird thing, man. God, it's been a year.
It's crazy. I remember when everything shut down, I was like...
Right now is when we were all getting sick.
Yeah, we were all getting sick on tour, and we were like, we'll be situated by June.
Mm-hmm.
I remember we rebooked the tour for like August or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, a year in, and I still don't know how it shakes out. I have inclinations that are not at all based in anything other than just like recycled knowledge. But I'm interested to see when this thing shakes out and like how it shakes out and how we kind of come back from this. It's so many businesses have closed and so many the tensions in people's, specifically business owners who have gone. I feel so bad for like restaurant owners who have had to open, close, and like try to reinvent everything.
Yeah.
During a time where personally, I don't ever know what's happening. Like we went to Cochinita last night, this little restaurant in town. I was like, "You guys are open?
Yeah.
How long has this been happening?"
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh yeah, it was shut down." I was like, "How do you even keep up with that? Like, where do you find the news to keep up with it?" I'm not at all connected to that, but yeah, I'm interested to see what like this same time next year looks like.
Well, it sounds like vaccines will be pretty heavily distributed by like this summer. So
that's what
I wonder what that will do. And I also wondered like what the after effects of that will be for people, if at all anything.
The vaccine after effect will be? Yeah. I think that's the one, if there's anybody speaking against vaccination, that's the one perception is, how do you test something long enough to know its side effects, you know, when you're releasing it in a year. I'm not in that world at all, so I'm not going to speak out of pocket, but it's just crazy. None of us have lived through, you know, a world war or the Great Depression, although I bet history will tell us that like the 2008 financial crisis was pretty gnarly.
Mm-hmm.
This feels like the most highlighted time in my life that I'll look back and be like, wow, that was crazy. I can't believe we lived through that.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it was, now granted, like I've been lucky for sure. And I'm not speaking as to my specific situation because I haven't suffered really at all. I haven't. I've had to cancel things. Sure, there's been less money in my bank account. But me personally, like nobody close to me has passed from this disease. Nobody that I know personally has really struggled with this disease. So I've been lucky.
Mm-hmm.
But just going through a situation where the entire world has shut down is insane.
Yeah.
I mean, even in times of war, World War I and II, there were still portions of the world that weren't in the firefight, right?
Yeah.
Every corner of the globe has been affected and shut down by this thing, which is like insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know what another year looks like. I also like it, you know, vaccine comes in and then people take it, but not everybody. And then like, you know, a lot of people are just saying like once everything's back to normal, and I don't know what normal is anymore for anything. Like, do we wear masks forever?
What's funny is how quickly this became normal.
Yeah, right.
Like when we first got back, Steve, from that tour, I didn't wear a mask. I was one of the last people to like wear a mask in public. I wasn't one of the last people, but I waited until Governor Inslee made the mandate to like wear a mask inside. And it must have been well into April that I was like still going to the store not wearing a mask. And I remember during that time, like looking around and seeing people with masks on and being like, dude, you're taking this way too seriously.
Yeah.
You know, now, like going into May, when I would walk in a store and I'd see somebody without a mask, God, it was like,
whoa.
Oh my God. It was
doing?
like seeing a 7 foot tall woman.
Right. Are you trying to make a statement or are you just completely crazy?
Right. Yeah. And it was always just like, you definitely voted for Trump.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what it became, man. I did a cross country road trip when I came out to here originally back in July. And it was like, you know, we went through multiple states where people weren't wearing masks and then states where everybody was wearing masks.
Yeah.
And you could just tell like liberal states versus like conservative states. And it was like a political thing. You know,
It's
I
so
spent some time with my cousin in North Carolina, and out there it was just like, you know, people did not wear them, but not for any other reason besides because they were like making a statement about like who I vote for. And people that were like making a statement on the other side of that. Had nothing to do with the actual like reason for wearing a mask at all. It was just like, this is who I am. It's an identity thing. It's just like, fuck.
Yeah, I think a lot of people wearing masks because they think with a logical brain, but
Yeah.
Well,
sure,
it's just
it turned political, but at first it was wear a fucking mask.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's unfortunate that things like that become politicized. It's like the vaccine becomes politicized in a certain capacity. The face masks, like top to bottom, I don't know if it's like this in other countries, but feels like specifically in America, it feels like it's been incredibly heightened over the last 10 years. It's like everything becomes politicized.
Yeah.
It always has been. It's just becoming in more of our spectrum because we're more involved in it.
Right, because we're getting older, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We get more involved, or we just
We're just more socially aware and conscious of those kinds of things because they do affect us in ways where you're 23, you don't fucking think about anything other than yourself.
I know. We're in our mid-30s. I never even thought I would be I never thought, like, when I was a kid that 30 was even a number I would even
Totally
get to. It wasn't even like, I remember seeing my brother with, he went to this school that had Bruins as the mascot.
UCLA?
The high school.
Oh, okay.
So he went to this high school that had the Bruins. And I remember being in like kindergarten, and he was in like 5th grade, and watching this. He had this thing called Bruin Buddy. Bruin buddies would come to these elementary schools, and they were just like, you know, varsity football players that would come and like make friends with the little kids at the school nearby. And Gabe was like on television with this Bruin buddy on the news one night, and I remember looking at that kid and being like,
so old.
that's the oldest man I've ever like. Your parents are a different thing,
Yeah,
but like,
yeah.
you know, your parents are just like, they're parents. They're just adult parents. That's what they are. And then this kid who was, you know, probably 16 or 17, maybe 15 even. It was just like, there's nobody as old as that person. Look at this. Oh my goodness, man. What a champion.
Was that who was the Buddy Bruin?
Dude, that looks like a tree. It's amazing.
Dude, this guy died at 146?
No way. I didn't know that was possible.
That's amazing.
Oh, he claimed to be the oldest person.
How old would you guys care to live to? Like, what's like your ideal age?
It's not about how old. It's about how, like, it's your experience of life.
For sure, but like still,
if I was still kicking ass at 146, bro, I'd be down. And there is a legitimate chance that by the time we are 60, 70, 80 years old, that living longer than our parents will be absolutely possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's already happening. It's like there's so many ways to live longer now, and it's, you know, I think mostly it comes down to just like diet and taking care of yourself and being proper. But yeah, I wonder like if the death rate or the life expectancy will be like increased beyond 100 by the time we're in our elderly years.
Like that's the average.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that
because it's like 85, or that's kind of what it's always seemingly been. But like back in the day, man, it was 32.
Yeah, I've heard interesting perspectives about that though. Back in those days, infant mortality and like children dying from birth was like 50%. So they would factor that into the average. But like Ben Franklin lived into his 90s, I think.
Did he really?
Yeah. Like it's not that people didn't live that long. Obviously it was less likely.
Have you guys had people live long in your family?
That's mostly like 70s, 80s in my family.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, he lived to 84, which is like,
wow.
I mean, 1790. That's old. That's old balls territory.
That is old balls territory.
1706.
Jesus, dude, what the hell was happening in 1706?
We went to Paul Revere's. I did this Little League tournament when I was a youngster, and we got to travel to Cooperstown, New York. We got to play in this like select league tournament in Cooperstown, New York, where the Baseball Hall of Fame is. And so my dad, who's like, he's a history nerd, was like, all right, we're gonna drive from Chewelah, Washington to Boston as a family in our 87 Chevy Suburban. We're gonna camp at KOA's on the way over. It was so much fun. We went to like Mount Rushmore. My dad just gave us like a history lesson of the USA.
Cool.
And we went to Paul Revere's house first and foremost, let's talk about this. We went to this like Jamestown reenactment spot.
Oh yeah,
bro. And there was like
proper like Renaissance fair.
Yeah. I mean, there's people whose full-time job it is to like be Ben Franklin.
Yeah.
Walk around in like petticoats and be like, oh, you know, and just be like act hammered all day. I was like, this is why you can make a living doing that.
Yeah.
We went to Paul Revere's house. I think it's in Boston, somewhere in Boston. My dad like found his way. Bro, people were tiny back then.
Yeah.
I could barely fit in there. I was like 11 years old. I was like, can't believe.
And you were like 6'9" back then.
6'7".
Yeah.
I shrunk actually.
Okay, cool.
I was a pretty big youngster, but I don't think I was full grown at that point. I think that was like 5th or 6th grade when we went and played that. But that was super cool to go to that. I mean, the East Coast of America has so much seemingly not more history, but like deeper history. Yeah, deeper American history.
Yeah, totally. I went on my fifth grade trip to Washington D.C. and it was a really cool experience. We went to all these like old houses and stuff, and in fact, we walked through. I got like food poisoning one night. And woke up the next morning, and I was like,
Drinking too much mead at the old Ben Franklin Memorial.
Yeah, well, dude, we saw like the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, and then like after that, we went to the place that Benjamin Franklin signed the Declaration of Independence on. I puked on that desk because I was so sick. I was in the room.
What? You puked on the desk?
I puked on the desk that
Franklin signed.
Yeah.
Straight to Rikers, bro.
They had to like escort me out of the house, and it was awful. I felt like such an asshole.
God.
It was great though, man. I mean, who gets to do that?
I have to find this.
Maybe Ben Franklin.
Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah, it was pretty funny, man. I was like, 11 years old, feeling like a real asshole.
It's just crazy to think like these old houses, these old monuments, these old things are so new in the world.
Oh, right.
So new.
In comparison to like European or
brand new
Chinese history.
Yeah, babies.
Yeah.
That's the room.
Well, America is like a little prepubescent boy in comparison to like Germany or Italy.
When
epically old cultures, Chinese
Africa.
culture, Indian culture.
Yeah.
When
African's like the
Greece,
oldest
Egyptian.
of all the histories. Yeah, it's funny that like it does definitely seem like, oh yeah, we We're like in that stage. I mean, what was your guys' best year growing up? I'm trying to think back about like what my best year was, and I think it was like third grade. I think very fondly of.
I remember signing.
And I think that's what we are experiencing right now in America is like third grade, and we're about to like hit our like 6th and 7th grade year, and it's gonna fucking suck, dude. All the girls are gonna be way bigger than us. They're gonna pick on us.
Watch yourself,
I'm
boys.
confused about my shorts length.
Yeah. Crap. I was gonna say something and I now forgot it. That's the room, though. That's the room where it happened. The room where it happened.
I did not want to be in the room where that happened.
Where? But like, I'm not seeing any life pictures.
Well, I don't know. I don't know why they're not showing.
I can't. Oh, is this maybe this guy's got a face mask on? He's just like socially distancing himself.
That doesn't look like it. It was like a room. It was like a room made up. Like, you know, there was one of those houses that you walk through and it's like all. It's just a model house basically, but it has been untouched and. Yeah,
so was it the actual place?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was just like a preserved house that they had tours through. And
see, I'm trying to get that real estate, bro. I'm trying to get that real estate where I don't have
Constitution
to do
House?
I don't have to do anything, and people just pay me $20 to come in and look at my old shit.
Yeah.
It's like I own the real estate for the first man to ever make a cheeseburger, and he made it right here in Spokane.
I was listening to a podcast with Jack Black, and he was talking about going through Jack White's house.
Oh yeah,
and
it's like a museum.
And he was like, because Jack White was like, hey man, like please don't take photos of this. Like when you come in, I'm sorry, just like don't go through. I don't doubt there's any on here.
Oh, we're about to find it. Look, here's some.
He was just like, yeah, don't take any photos. And Jack Black was just like, all right, whatever. And he was like walking through like, dude, this is like, why wouldn't you want me to take photos of this? This place is so cool. And then he was like, I think I realized that he's basically just acquiring all of these things to put into this house and not wanting people to see it so that it can just be a museum someday when he passes, and people will just walk through and like be able to look at his legacy. And like
I have a close friend who's worked on Jack White's camp for many years, and he doesn't have a cell phone. He doesn't have an email address.
He doesn't need one. His assistant has all that shit.
Right, but like regardless of whether or not we don't need an Instagram account, we don't need a Twitter, we don't need an email address, right? Like all of these technological advances we never needed, but we buy into it because we're like, oh, well, that sounds fun. You can just like no longer put stamps on. He's completely preserved like the way of, like the way he records too at this point. He still does everything to tape, I think.
I think Bill Murray does that too. I don't think Bill Murray has an agent or a manager or like a cell phone or an email address. Just shows up to like bars in Brooklyn, starts bartending for people, and like just does whatever he wants.
Have you watched that doco on Netflix like about Bill Murray, like stories of Bill Murray or something? Essentially, like all these normal people's accounts of their experiences with Bill Murray. And they have all this footage, like Bill Murray went to South by Southwest one year just randomly, and then went to somebody's house party. Yeah, and like the guys at the house party told the story, like, oh yeah, just open up the door, and Todd came over to me in the kitchen as I was cracking a Coors Light. He's like, bro, fucking Bill Murray's here. Can you imagine?
I couldn't imagine, man. Closest we got was Sanjaya coming over to our house.
Oh, yeah, Sanjaya, man, that was so interesting.
Yeah, that was so funny. Bro, Sanjaya's downstairs, man. He's trying to kiss Brent.
I kind of hope at one point that I'm able to inflict that much joy on people.
I'm sure you do,
but like Bill Murray sized joy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. It would just be fun to step in those shoes for a day. Where I heard a story that Bill Murray would like several times. He'll get in an elevator with somebody who is just there by themselves, and he'll stand 3 inches away from them. and then when he gets out of the elevator, he goes, "No one will believe you." Yeah. And he leaves.
Yeah. They'll never believe you.
They'll never believe this.
How great is that? What I would love though is just like somebody who had no idea who Bill Murray was. Yeah. Like my dad. Yeah. My dad would have no idea who Bill Murray was.
Punches him in the face.
No, my dad would be cool. My dad would just be like looking and just like.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Yeah. We were in his presence. That you did a show that one time at like Carnegie Hall or something, somewhere in New York.
No, it was at
some tribute.
It wasn't at Carnegie. It was at Steve. Where does the Allman Brothers always play in New York? They do.
Oh,
like
that was at the
12-day
Beacon.
Yeah, it was at the Beacon. He was like side stage. It was like Kevin Bacon, Gary Clark Jr.
What was that for?
It was for Love Rock or Rock Love or something.
That was a cool show. Yeah, him and
Whoopi Goldberg were there.
Whoopi Goldberg was the
Whoopi
host.
was there.
Yeah, Whoopi was there, dude.
Fuck.
Yeah, but then we like went back to like the little bar at the hotel that everybody was staying at, and he was in like, you know, in that space, and man, I wanted to talk to him so bad, but it's so weird when you get around that kind of celebrity and you're just like, what the fuck am I gonna say?
Well,
like,
what's
what can I
interesting though
say?
is like that emotion right there is what always pulls me away from it.
Yeah, right.
The fact that I want to talk to him means that I don't have anything to say to him in my own personal opinion. Like if I just like sat down on an airplane and holy shit, that's Bill Merritt. Like he's sitting right next. Wow, dude, what's up, man? And I love Caddyshack, but like walking up to him in a public place where like you've spotted him. Yeah. And going up to him and be like, I just want to let you know that like, you know, that scene in Caddyshack where you're like talking about pool or a pond? Dude, pool or a pond. Yo, Bill, pool or a pond, bro. Yeah. It's like so corny.
Yeah. I want to be like 2 hours into a conversation with him, but I don't want to be anywhere prior to that.
At the beginning of the conversation, yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about this podcast.
So does everybody listening. Get on with it, boys.
I was at a music festival once, and John C. Reilly.
Oh yeah.
This lady stopped me with this other. She was just with this man who was in a big cowboy hat and sunglasses, and she had seen the set, and she was like, "Oh, we really love your music," and it's just like started being super nice to me. And she goes, "This is my friend John." And I look at John. I'm like, "Oh, hey, John." Like, "Hey, John, how you doing?" Shake his hand. He was kind of taken back in the moment. Like in the moment, I could tell that like it was shocking that I just said, "Oh, hey, John," and shook his hand. And then like 3 minutes into the conversation, I'm like, that's fucking John C. Reilly. Yeah. Like standing in front of me, like one of my favorite, top 5 favorite comedians of all time is standing right in front of me, but I could not get it out. I left that conversation being like,
did you just shit your pants? And
yeah, I was just like, hey, thanks you guys so much for being nice and telling me cool things. Permission to speak about me anytime, anywhere. Yeah. And then just left and went to catering and got a cheese stick or something. But after that, I was like, oh, I so badly wish I could have just like told John C. Reilly in that moment, because we were introduced in such an innocent way. It wasn't like I approached him in a porta potty and was like, I just want you to know that, like, you know.
Yeah, right.
It was like a really innocent way that was like,
your shot, man.
I could have been like, oh, John, I just want to let you know that Walk Hard, I think, is one of the greatest comedic achievements of the last 100 years. I just want to let you know that. Dude, it's one of my favorite movies of all time. He wrote and performed all the music.
Did he write it?
Yeah.
He wrote the movie too?
He wrote the movie.
Oh, wow. Yeah. He's an incredible actor, man.
Jack White was in that. Shout out to Jack White. Hey, it's the king, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Karate.
No, that's not Jack. Oh, is that Jack White?
That's Jack White, bro.
Shit.
As Elvis,
You're right.
Yeah. Look out! Look out!
Yeah, we should watch that movie.
Let's do it. Let's have
10,000 didgeridoos.
10,000 didgeridoos. Yeah, that's celebrity sightings are pretty strange. And yeah, I feel like I'm such a conversationalist as it is. I just want to talk to everybody, but like as soon as I see somebody like that, I'm like, yeah, the more I want to, the less I will.
The more you want to talk to someone, or like, it's funny because there's people that I want to meet that I wish I would meet them without me knowing who they are. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because then I would have like it happens in this podcast quite a bit where we've talked about it. We'll have guests on and I'll be like, like how much research should I do of the guest? Yeah. Because the thrill of meeting somebody for the first time is learning about them. And if you go into a conversation like knowing everything about the person, where they graduated, all of their movies, like there's a level of it that's too much that makes the conversation, it leads the conversation in a non-freeform way. Right. So I still haven't gotten that, like the right amount of prior knowledge of somebody. Except Andy Dick and going to rehab 27 times. I definitely learned about that before he came in on the show. And I was like, wow, I wish we would have talked about that more. But we didn't have one single strand of like intelligible conversation.
No.
Yeah. Well, we also have just like a slew of different types of people that come on. So it's like, you know, when you get moving forward, like for the guests that we start bringing on as well, that the more popularity these people have, the more we inherently know about them because they're public knowledge.
Yeah.
Most of the guests we've had on, not many people know about. So we either like, and it's nice to have those conversations where you're just like, I don't actually know anything. Let me learn because this is great. But when you get like an actor or a musician on that has, you know, a lot of success and people know really well, it's like you already know certain stuff about them already. So you enter the conversation from a different place. But I think there's just like, I'm on the same page as you, but I do like to know like enough to feel like I've respected that person.
Yeah, that's the level that I'm talking about. But there's just a little bit over that.
Yeah.
That is weird. I don't know. It's super interesting to me because I always feel like I feel more connected to somebody when I'm genuinely like entrenched in the joy of getting to know somebody.
Sure.
Right? Because I think that's like the most special part about new friendships.
Yeah.
Is like, whoa, wait, you grew up where? Oh, you know about, you know, that's the spark that like makes me want to talk to anybody, period. But like when you, going back to that John C. Reilly incident that I had, it was innocent in that moment. But like if I saw John C. Reilly like on a subway, my wheels would start turning like, okay, how do I talk to him and how do I like get him there and how it's almost like you're going into that conversation like wanting something, which is awkward. It's a super weird dichotomy.
What's really crazy, and I'm not trying to boost your ego or anything like that, but watching you do your like,
you should try.
I'm trying to lower it.
No, try it.
Okay, let's see if this works.
Really blow me up on this one. Pump my tires, baby. Pump my tires.
Your kneecaps are so hot.
That's an Aussie saying that I like a lot. Man, I'm not trying to pump your tires on this, but sorry, go ahead, George.
I cut my finger. I'm biting my nails again, dude. It sucks. Watching you do your meet and greets, and because somebody's reference of you can be your same reference to Bill Murray. Like there are people in the world that like you are their idol, which is fucking weird first and foremost, but also it's just true. And so like, have you come across like, cause I'm sure you have a kind of interesting like character study, kind of like interesting experience that you can dive into when you're having those experiences with people as to how they approach you being like, super nervous and like, what do I say? Like, you know, they know that they have like a limited time with you. So they have something probably prepared to say. Have there ever been people who just like, that you're like, wow, dude, that guy nailed that?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Because it was just, and is it just typically like, because they're just being present and feeling like they didn't have something prepared? Or?
So I think that when people approach me like I'm still a human, is when it goes really great. The ones that always don't go, or they all go fine. It all comes from a not an evil place. None of it comes from a non-evil place.
Right.
The ones that are relatively kind of annoying are the ones where you're just like a zoo animal.
Yeah.
And people just want to like take a selfie with you so they can feel like get encouragement online. That never, I mean, it is what it is. It's just kind of a shadow of the thing that I do. But it doesn't make me feel any which way about that person. Whereas like there are people who have approached me who have been like, who have connected with me like I'm a human, right? Like, man, how you doing? Like, hey, you know, there's this really good sandwich spot in town, you know, but that takes so much minerals. Like I would never go to Bill Murray and be like, hey dude, have you ever been to Katz?
Yeah.
You ever been to Katz Deli?
Yeah.
You know, like it takes minerals to approach somebody that you, I don't know if you idolize or you just think a certain which way about.
Right.
And bring them down to the human level, because that's what they are. We're all humans. Our experiences are all human experience. there's good people everywhere. It's just when you're treated like a human
Yeah.
with human emotions and human experiences is when it goes really well for me personally. I know I've definitely been around people with a specific amount of notoriety though, who that's a turnoff.
Yeah.
And I think it's just essentially an insecurity. Like there's definitely some people who get attention for a thing and get a celebrity for a thing because they want to be a celebrity, not because they just love doing the thing that somehow gets the celebrity.
Yeah.
And that's so gross, bro.
Yeah.
It's so gross. It's so gross to be around people who are like, feel deserving of notoriety or feel deserving of fame or feel deserving of celebrity, or that's what they're most concerned about is like how many people know about them or how many people care about them or how important they need to feel or where their table is or if you know their name or not. Like it's so, that journey of celebrity seems like hell to me.
Yeah.
And it happens all the time. I especially nowadays when like you can just get famous for fucking putting your hand in front of the phone and then changing your outfit and moving your hand away. Shout out to TikTok.
Yes, make one. I already did make a TikTok. You guys should go follow us. We're called Gypsy Boys. Gypsy BOIS.
There's another one of
TikToks up there.
Another one of Julian's drinking excursions.
No, I wasn't drinking.
I don't know.
I don't either. I can't tell anymore. Made it a few nights ago. It was pretty stupid, but we got some good stuff up there, man. It's real good content, premium content.
We had we have one video up there that's actually really great of me falling through the ice.
That's the best. I mean, I fell through too, dude, but you fell through worse or better, honestly.
Julian, you went through. Alan fell through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a really wonderful description of what happened.
Yeah. Sorry, we were chatting about that celebrity thing, and I was thinking like, cause what I wanted to know was like, have you ever just felt like, dude, you're awesome? Like,
it happens all the time.
Cause like Teddy Swims was
one of
example.
them. Yeah, it happens all the time where people are just cool people, and I'm like, oh, we should hang out.
You want to go hang? Yeah, that's so cool.
It happens all the time. And it's such a wonderful breath of fresh air, because a lot of the time, a lot of the experience is, hey, let me just get my 5 seconds with you so I can get my picture taken with you so that I can share it online so that I can get enough likes. Or, I mean, I'm projecting that. I don't know if that's the intent behind everything, but that's how it feels to me, is like, oh, I'm a zoo animal.
Yeah.
And people just want to like take a picture of a Bigfoot if they see one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in every town, in every city, all across the world, there's like always beautiful people that we run into that somehow manage to treat you like, and I think probably what it is they just don't think I'm very cool. They think they just like, I mean, like they're not that big of a fan of me, maybe. You know, like,
well, no, I mean, they're at the meet and greet, they're a big fan of you, but they're not putting you on a pedestal. Yeah,
maybe that's it. They're not like, they don't think I'm Jesus.
Yeah.
You know, or not that, God, that's such a fucking terrible thing to say. Like,
why?
Well, because I'm obviously not, I don't
well, yeah,
think that people think I'm Jesus.
Well, I'm sure there are some people that like regard you that way, which is so weird. And to think anybody's that way, like, you know, we think very highly of Bill Murray, like we were just talking about. We don't think of him in that way, but there are certain people that fucking idolize the people that they're a fan of so much. Sure,
it's just it's odd coming from my mouth.
Yeah, I get it.
But, of course, yeah.
But
well, there we go, Alan. We just blew up your ego and you squashed it yourself. So
I'm slashing tires, dude. I'm slashing my own tires.
You're a narcissist.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. It's a weird thing too, because I haven't felt it in a year and a half now.
Well, people have been hitting me up for autographs lately a bunch. I'm just like signing them and everything. It's all cool.
Are you
dude.
signing them and just sending them out?
Yeah, signing them, sending them out with postage.
With our house as the return address.
Yep, this is Alan Stone's address. Everybody needs to know it. Here we are. Yeah, a lot of autographs, dude. Bleached my hair blonde. I've just been fucking. I'm hot,
autographs
dude.
Autographs are weird.
So weird.
Like now, and they used to not be weird when like not every single human had a camera, but like,
yeah,
you know, back in the day when you would go to a baseball game or you'd go to a concert. Like, what's the thing I can take from this moment that like is yours? Okay, it's your autograph.
Yeah.
Whereas now, like, who the fuck wants an autograph?
A lot of people, dude. I have some friends who have been in. I have a friend who was like the Black Power Ranger on like 4 episodes of Power Rangers back in the day, and he goes to these Comic-Cons.
Is he black?
No. Yeah, he's white. Yeah, I never thought about it like that. I think he's just like the evil one.
Oh, okay.
Which is also weird that is the case.
Seems
I think he's like the bad.
Like we got a budding social justice scenario happening.
Let's talk
here.
to the Power Rangers producers about that. What's up, guys? What are you doing?
I don't know. Anyways, go.
Anyways, he played this character. He's like, just a like 4 or 5 episode stint. And he goes to these Comic-Con, and it was back in like the 90s. And he goes to these Comic-Cons, and tens of thousands of people show up to these things to get autographs. And like there's lines for him because it's like this was the Black Power Ranger and he's like the guy, and people have this like there's these fan groups of people for everything that happens, man. Like I have a girlfriend who's like a talent manager for those specific events for guys from The Walking Dead.
Oh God!
And she goes to these Comic-Cons, and they're like people that have only been on a couple episodes, but they did something to like one of the main characters.
Do they have to dress up in their Walking Dead outfit?
I don't know.
Yeah, I've been in cities where like Comic-Con was happening, because I don't know how many different cities they happen at, but they like Staples Center.
Yeah, they're
and
huge.
There's more people there than I've ever seen at a Lakers game, and I'm blown away by it. I mean, that's kind of the coolest part about living with the internet, is that anybody can find anything.
Yeah.
And all of these, we did a tour one time in Germany with this German reggae band called Seed. We opened up for them.
Oh yeah, those were huge concerts, huh?
Dude, they played stadiums only in Germany. Like 50,000 people in Berlin, 3 nights, 50,000 people. I had never heard of the band before in my life.
Yeah.
And as somebody who thinks that in order to like gain a level of specific success, you have to be a household name, like that goes to prove against it. That you can like be doing really big things and nobody ever knows about it. Not nobody, right? But like we just live in such a gigantic world where you can literally distribute and connect to every person on the planet now. I mean, almost everybody has a phone.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I think Comic-Con, man, that I don't get it, but I'm cool
People
that it
do.
exists.
Yeah. They make a lot of money doing that stuff, man. It's like such a great supplemental way to stack your chips, dude, because those actors go out there and they're just like, yeah, I haven't worked, if you're not acting on something currently, you're an unemployed actor. So it's just like, sweet, yeah, I'll go out and do this thing. And people are paying like $50 to $100 for an autograph. And then they get like a couple thousand of those people coming out and doing that thing, and it's just like, sweet, I just made a bunch of money for a day of just putting up with.
I've always wondered why more people don't follow celebrities around to like cafes and just grab their receipts after they finish eating.
I do.
Well, like I've had a few moments where like there's people outside the venue, at 3 or 4 p.m. And as I'm leaving, getting off the bus to go in the venue, they have like 10 or 12 photos of me that they want me to sign. Yeah. And like, I realized these aren't for them. They're going to try to sell these eventually, which if there was 100 people out there asking for that, like those would be the guys I'd be like, you guys get real. I'll sign the kids things here, but I'm not, but with 2 people, I'm just like, sure. I've always thought that though, like, you know how many different things I sign in a day?
Yeah.
Like I sign, like I go to the coffee thing and like sign, put 20%, I sign my name.
Yeah.
It seems like waiting out in the cold seems just like an archaic way of like.
I know.
But I think it's the photo. Like I think if you go on eBay, you guys want to try to go on eBay and buy a signed photo of me?
Of you right now? Let's see if they got them.
Let's go. Check it out.
Sweet, dude. What if they don't have any? Are you gonna feel bad about yourself?
No, I'm not gonna be surprised at all. Alan Stone's signed picture. What do we got? We got,
dude, 40 bones.
$40 for a signed Alan Stone
85 down there, dude.
poster with proof. We got another vinyl. $200, bro. Ooh,
Whoa.
this one, 2012 poster. I got 20 of these in my basement.
Not for long.
Look at this. Yeah, see what I'm talking about.
Alan.
Alan Stone, unaware musician, signed 8x10 photo and proof.
And
I wonder what the
proof.
proof
What's the
is.
proof?
Let's check it out.
Seller JP Gavel. What the?
Yeah.
That would be so funny if that was what I was doing.
This matte finish photo was professionally developed in a photo lab. Check out the proof picture of Alan Stone's signing.
Oh, the
Okay, show me the proof picture. Bro, there's a shit ton of them on here.
Damn, dude. Oh, those are nice deals. $20, $19.99.
This one, right,
And also, who decides like the whole 99-cent thing? Like, why don't you just put 20 bones?
bro,
Is that
this
just,
one
like,
right here is a picture of me singing at Chautauqua.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Chihuahua Fair.
What a trip, dude. That's kind of fun, right?
There's a lot of them.
You totally knew you had these out here.
I didn't know
Yeah,
at
you
all.
did. You've checked this out.
I've never checked this out. This is
Have you ever gotten bad reviews? Like, you ever like?
Yeah,
I know
for
a lot of
sure.
people just like don't like to look themselves up because they don't want to, have to deal with the shitty reviews people say about them. But I feel like people that like you just kind of like you a lot. And I don't think you get a lot of bad reviews, but
well, I'm just not.
am I wrong?
We got a bad review of the VIP experience for the Valentine's Day banquet.
By who? Everybody
this
that
lady-
went?
I don't know. Some lady commented on my Instagram like, "That was trash."
Well, yeah, we were. I was heavily intoxicated for that.
Yeah, you were using a lot of profanity.
Was I?
You
Oh,
were.
don't blame it on me.
I am blaming it on you. It was all you.
The whole thing that it was bad was me.
Well, I mean, I think it was tough having Tommy and
Yeah, it was tough.
Teddy like Skype in. That was just, we just shouldn't have done that.
There's a lot of
It just
things.
should have been me
Mhm.
and you and Steve, and like that should have been it. Now, it was great to see Tommy and Teddy, but I think that trying to
How long did that whole thing last? Like,
it was like an hour and a half. I don't know.
Huh.
I've gotten bad reviews before, for sure. Yeah.
did they hurt your feelings?
Wow, look at this. Is it
You signing it.
the picture of oh
Let me
my
get
God.
a picture of him signing it.
the
so that
friendliest stranger?
I can... Weird, man. Who? Like, I guess who's buying these?
No one,
I
apparently.
mean, nobody. They're still up, bro. I signed this like 2 years ago. $70 for anybody at home who wants to send Julian a really good Christmas gift. Go
If somebody
and buy him one of these. The
if somebody
friendliest
sent me-
stranger.
If somebody sent me an autographed picture of you, I would wipe my nards with it, dude.
I mean, this guy's got so many things for sale.
Yeah, that's
Look at this.
crazy.
The
The things people do for money, man, are such a trip.
Look at this.
There's some crafty people, man.
Yeah.
And it is kind of crazy to think like, man, if I had
It's like their gig, man. We had people at Showbox and Crocodile. These are venues in Seattle that would show up to like our bigger shows, and that's all they were there for.
yeah, but they would that can't be their only gig.
No, of course
Well,
not.
who's to
I
say?
assume.
How great is
I
this?
assume.
So the friendliest stranger blacks out his face, but he keeps L King's face in there. Like, that seems weird, bro. Show us who you are, man.
Yeah, who are you, friendly stranger? You listening?
Come on, you're not the friendliest
You out
stranger
there?
if you're blacking out your face.
Yeah, dude, give us a chance. Give us a chance.
Shout out to L King. What a sweetheart.
She's nice.
She's awesome. Yeah, she's great. She's funny AF, dude. She's a riot. She's so fun to be around. Yeah, that's crazy.
That
I
is
did
crazy.
not think that existed.
Wow. Yeah, I mine that are all up there are probably all just, you probably couldn't find any because they've all been sold. Cause
Yeah, they're in my room.
yeah,
Yeah, they're just at
That's right.
they're on the Comic-Con
circuit.
the Comic-Con shelves.
all my signed
Your
headshots.
Blue Bloods
Z
shot.
Nation.
Z Nation. You guys seen Z Nation? He's a love throwing that out. Oh, you seen Z Nation, dude? I'm in it.
I love abbreviating things that nobody knows what they are.
Yeah,
Z-Nash.
totally.
Guessing Zinash. Like, first of all, so what's the full word? Oh, Z Nation. Yeah, what's that?
What is that?
You should see if you can get into Comic-Con under the star of Starleaf.
Dude, I was killing it in Starleaf, bro. I think they took it to Starleaf. That movie was so funny, man. Did you guys ever I think Steph bought one and it came like the DVD came with joint papers.
No, that was us.
You guys bought one too?
Yeah, Laura bought one, yeah.
So great, dude.
I don't like
I'm
that.
specifically saying Laura bought it.
I don't like that you were in the movie though, and like you're not on any of the pictures.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm just ugly, dude. I was the star. Leaf. Look at the Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, there he
dude.
is, baby.
Look at the Rotten Tomatoes.
I remember watching the movie, and I was like so impressed
With what?
with the movie.
You look like the Psycho in Full Metal Jacket.
Like regardless of how good. Oh, there's your old girlfriend,
Yeah, it's called Shelb Dog.
Shelb Deasy, dude. Where'd you guys film this
Deasy.
at?
The Olympic National Rainforest.
Don't you know that guy too?
His name's Tyler. Well, of course I know him. We made a movie together.
Oh.
Oh.
No, but like it looks like Mo. It looks like that guy.
Oh
Mo
yeah,
you
it did look a little
introduced
bit like Mo. Yeah. Yeah. No, it was such a blast to make that thing, man.
Was that a
like
real
my
gun?
First, it was a real gun, man.
Yikes.
We had to get like
Julian with a real gun.
It was, dude.
Scary.
I had to load it with like a real bullet for one of the shots. It scared the shit out of me because I'd like load it and then cock it, and I was like,
Yeah.
now I'm holding like this AR-15. Like this is crazy.
Look
But-
at if you could just zoom into where Julian's holding the gun right now. I kind of think that's not the proper way to
No,
hold
dude.
it.
We had like tactical.
Right, but aren't you supposed to
people-
hold this little grip section here?
No.
You're not.
No.
You're supposed to hold the round.
No, is that the magazine or a handle?
That's the magazine.
That's the magazine.
not supposed to hold
You're
the
supposed to
magazine.
hold the
Dude,
magazine.
I don't fucking know, man. I don't know anymore.
love
All I
it.
know is that I was
Like-
listening to the guy that was like from the military that brought the guns for us. He was like, "This is what you do." It's like, all right, cool. And that was also like a moment where I'm like, shooting and getting fucking crazy, dude. 48%.
48% on Rotten Tomatoes is not that bad.
It's not. I've seen worse.
I mean, I've seen quite a few movies and watched them from the top to the bottom. Folks at home, go watch,
Go watch Starleaf.
Watch
Starleaf.
Starleaf.
Where
Yeah,
do
I think you
where
can get
can
it on
you-
Amazon.
Oh, for
think it-
sure, dude. Let's check out this. Amy Prime. Is it just prime.com? Is that the
I don't
Prime
know.
Video? Dude, let's check it out. What's the rental?
I don't think it is a rental. I think it's just available. Right? Do you have to buy stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. I wonder how much money you get from. Yeah, $3.99 to rent Starleaf, dude.
Oh,
Definitely watching it
yourself a
tonight.
treat.
Dude, treat yourself, guys.
Have a couple
Get
IPAs,
stoned, have a
join
couple
it.
IPAs.
Yeah.
Watch JP Gavs go deal with aliens in the woods and smoke weed. That was so fun, man. I had such a blast doing that. Was like my first. I mean, I've never like really led a movie, and that although it's a small budget, tiny little independent thing, it was so fun, man, to just dive in like that and like
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
work on something that was something creative like that. It was such a blast.
Did
man.
the director write it?
The director wrote it, yeah.
Yeah.
His name's Richard Craner. He's such an interesting dude, man.
Oh, I bet.
So fun. Yeah. And if you like have a conversation with him about what his interpretation of that movie is, it blows your mind. There's like so much depth to what that story actually
To what
represents for
he's
him.
trying to portray.
Yeah, but to the average
Shout out to
Joe.
Dick Craner.
Shout out to good old Dick Cranes, dude.
Dick Crane, bro. Can you imagine what that would look like? Just a big wiener with a shooting up from the top of a building.
Good old Dickie Cranes. Oh man, yeah, that's good old times, dude.
A lot of cranes in the sky. What's that one? This looks like a dick.
Oh my god, dude.
Leaning Tower.
I loved those guys, man. That was a blast.
Well,
My ex-girlfriend too, man. We made a movie together. That was cool.
it was super cool. I remember, I think I was just super blazed when I watched it. I remember taking a picture I was like, pause it right now. We were watching it at the house in Seattle, and I was like, pause it. And I went and stood right next to the screen and put my thumbs up so I could send you a picture of like proof that I was watching it.
Did you sign it afterwards
Yeah, it was
for
the-
proof
yeah.
and put
I
it on
signed
eBay?
it. I signed it. It's up on
Are
eBay.
you the stranger, Alan?
Alan's making more money off of his signatures of his picture signing them next to Starleaf than Starleaf made.
I'm making more than off this fucking podcast.
Ah, shit, dude.
Oh, this is
good
great.
old times. Good old times. Let's do another one.
So many wonderful things to talk about. Folks at home, we love you very much. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Stay well, stay blessed, and stay tuned.
Oh, boo-boo, did you just make it to the end of the video? Yes, you did. Do you want to see more videos just like this one? Do you?
Well, then head over to patreon.com/Live at the Lodge, where you can support the How Goods of this podcast, as well as the entire Live at the Lodge family.
Yep, yeah, you're going to get exclusive merch, personalized shout-out videos. Me and Jules, we're going to show up at your house and baptize your nephew, huh? Check it out, patreon.com/Live at the Lodge.